Good day, folks. This is Scott with Wet Edge, and welcome to our frequently asked questions video series. In today's question, we'll be discussing why are there price differences between colors within product lines. Now, most of you may know that all finishes are some combination of white cement, pigment, and aggregate. Now, of the three, the cement is the common denominator. It's the same throughout, so that's what we're going to put that one off to the side, which leaves us with the pigment and the aggregate. And we're going to take a look at both of those now. Okay, now in regards to the pigment, it's not necessarily that lighter pigments are less expensive than darker pigments. What it really boils down to is if a pigment, one of the base components of that pigment is cobalt. Cobalt is the base element for a lot of the blue colored dyes. Blues are very popular, but that cobalt is expensive. So for example, that's why you can have a light blue which has a higher percentage of the cobalt in it compared to, let's say, a black. At Wet Edge, we find rocks. It's just what we do. And when we find them, we make sure that we use everything so there is no waste, which is some of the roundest, smoothest pebble in the marketplace. Now, where do we go to find such beautiful pebble? Well, both at home and abroad. From our domestically harvested gold and white pebble that we source out of riverbeds, to our exotic black and gray stone pebbles that we bring in from the far reaches of South America and the South Pacific off ancient and active beaches. And therein lies the difference. Where the pebble comes from goes a long way in determining why one color is more expensive than another. But having the two sources, both domestic and international, gives us and you options. With our more affordable domestically harvested gold pebble, we can provide you with selections that can compete with anybody price-wise. But for those of you who want to travel the world in your pool, so to speak, with our internationally sourced black and gray stone, we can provide you with some upgraded options that have pebbles that are simply unmatched in the industry for their shape and beauty. Now let me demonstrate to you how the combination of both pigment and pebble can combine together in creating a cost differences between two colors. Now in my hand I have two samples from our satin matrix line. In my left I have our North Shore Caribbean, and on my right I have our Antigua. Now, if we first take a look at the pigment, both of these pigments have a certain percentage of cobalt as a base component. But the Antigua has a higher concentration or percentage compared to the Caribbean. Therefore, the pigment for the Antigua is more expensive than the pigment found in the Caribbean. And if I turn them over, now let's take a look at the aggregate. The aggregate in the Antigua is primarily composed of our internationally sourced gray stone, whereas the aggregate in the Caribbean is primarily made up of our domestically sourced gold pebble, which is one of our more affordable pebbles. The combination of the two, the more expensive pigment and the more expensive aggregate, creates the cost difference that is more expensive than the Caribbean. So that's why there's a difference between the two. But you know, at the end of the day, you have choices. You know, you could stay home or you could travel abroad. Well, thank you very much. We're going to end our discussion right there. But before we end, I just want to remind you that we do not set final pricing. So just encourage you to get with the builder in your region to find out the exact cost. We were just trying to give you a few examples and to demonstrate to you that there are concrete reasons, not arbitrary ones, why one color costs more than the other. So hopefully you found this video helpful and informative, that you feel empowered to make an informed decision, because at the end of the day, we want you to be happy with whatever finish you choose. Thanks for watching from all of us at Wet Edge, your pool finish resource.